Welcome. You're listening to the podcast of Willow Creek Church in Winter Springs, Florida. Hits record. We'll get this thing started. And I think he hit record. There's a red line going on there. So, so I went to lunch today. Chick-fil-A, because
that's your spot.
I mean, it's Chick-fil-A SAT question. Drew and Breakfast Club, as Greg is to Chick-fil-A. That's the correct answer right there.
There you go. Now you know.
Little SAT prep here on the podcast. But yeah, so I'm in there. This older gentleman who he's bringing in, I'm assuming his wife.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a very big, I think that's a pretty thick limb to go out on right there. He's wheeling her in a wheelchair, sits down, and I noticed it's like 5 minutes later, he gets out this giant, not an apron, but a scarf or a handkerchief thing.
Okay.
Puts it in her lap, and the food comes, and she tried to pick up stuff, and her hands are just shaking, uncontrollably, just awful. And so he sits there, he gets the sauce, puts it on the bun and stuff, gets the fries out, opens the ketchup up, starts getting almost feeding her.
Right. Wow.
And I'm like, that is just what a beautiful picture of what God does for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I noticed to the right of them, there's three guys and all of them are on their cell phones. One of them's got the thing up to his ear, backwards, whatever that's all about. And another one's just, both the other guys are just totally scrolling or doing whatever. And I'm like, that's me. That's me. God demonstrates his love all over the place. We see it. Here's this little glimpse of what God has done for us, that we can't feed ourselves. We are completely helpless. He has come and loved us, given himself for us. And here's me over here with whatever, just completely distracted, going, I'll look at this. I'll waste my time with this, when actually what we most long for, to be loved, is it's right there in front of us. And so that was just an awesome thing. And I sent that picture. I took a picture of it. I won't post that anywhere online or anything, just to protect the guilty. But yeah, sent that to the staff, and just an encouragement. And welcome to the podcast again, ladies and gentlemen. We've been gone for a little while. For our tens of listeners, I know you've all missed us greatly, I'm sure. We've heard the cries. Well, that's a tie-in.
Much like the longings to be
actually nothing like the longings of the Egyptian or of the Hebrew people in Egypt. Nothing like that whatsoever. But welcome back, Drew. Great to be back with you. Ryan's in the room.
If you're
doing
listening to us and you have no idea who we are, if you were sent this by someone else, I'm Drew Taylor, the associate pastor at Willow Creek Church. That's Greg Doty that gave that beautiful anecdote. I'm tearing up over here over it. No, it was powerful.
Get him some tissues. Get him some tissues.
Our producer Ryan Carter mixing the sound, making us sound better than we actually are. But yeah, it's good to be back with you.
Yep.
New summertime's almost here. New summer sermon series.
Here we go.
What's your first thing when the girls finish school? Kind of what do you guys have, a sort of last day of school tradition or anything fun?
Sometimes we just go get ice cream. Okay. That's kind of like the first and last day.
Yeah.
I think that lasted for a few years back in elementary school. I don't know if we do that. So if the kids listen to this, then my girls are going to be like, Dad, let's go. We got to go to ice cream. They don't sound like that, by the way. But they will. Well, yeah, we might go do that. We'll see. Yeah.
We'll probably head to New Smyrna Beach. That's my guess.
That's
my
wife's. That's a little bit better than ice cream.
That's
I would
her
say.
happy spot. So we'll head there as soon as we can.
Yeah, awesome.
But yeah, so we decided to kind of check in, highlight a couple things going on in the life of the church, and really just point to the new sermon series. I thought the Gospel of Mark, just as a recap, I thought the Gospel of Mark was great. Obviously, the Word of God, it culminated perfectly on Easter Sunday.
Wow. Amazing planning, huh?
Great
Amazing
plan.
planning.
Happy accident. Sovereign accident. But yeah, we enjoyed, I enjoyed the sermon series very much. And any feedback or things go along with that?
Gosh. I'm already knee deep into Exodus.
Yeah, it's kind of high.
In some ways, yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, we did go through the Gospel of Mark. No, it was a good series. It was really fast. Part of the balance beam that we walk on as pastors in preaching is how fast and how slow do you go? Mm-hmm. How much can we absorb going through a book? I've got books in my office of guys that are long since passed on to glory that they preached like 300 sermons on Mark.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know if I can handle 3 years of going through Mark. There's 100 years worth of information in there that we can really dig into. But so that's just kind of where, that's kind of where we're. That's my bent anyway.
That's sure.
I know it's not.
I appreciate you talking about the preaching process, because one of the things we touched on today in our staff meeting was just we are blessed at Willow Creek to have a multi-generational audience, and so congregation rather, not audience, congregation. And with that, there's the how do people process information and take in. I'm leading our Discover class right now, and we talk about the swimming pool analogy of our church desiring to be a place where people are kind of first discovering the truth and the good news of the gospel, and people are going deeper and deeper into the truth of what it means to follow
I think
Jesus.
That's one of the things I loved most about, well, not most, but one of the things I really loved about Mark is how so many other avenues to study Mark happened.
Yes.
That it wasn't completely dependent upon the preacher to say, like, here's all that you're going to hear this week on Mark.
Right.
And I know our Salties took different, when I would preach on, say, Mark 7, 1 to 10, they would have a talk on Mark 7, 11 through 50 or whatever, and just taking different passages that we didn't talk about Sunday. And I know a number of small groups did that as well. Yes. And it just allows us to go deeper. What you were talking about, that's part of who we are and our DNA, is we want to go deeper in our relationship with Jesus. And I love that idea, just taking that. And I don't know if people are doing that for Exodus, because it's such a big book. There's a ridiculous amount of richness to it. Then we really could do 300 sermons on Exodus. We won't, but we could. I don't know if I could, but
we'd love to hear your feedback. If you want us
to
share resources, maybe we can at least recommend some.
Yeah, I'll recommend one of our competitors' podcast right now. For our tens of listeners, but the Bible Story Project. I think that's what it's called. The Bible. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now because I'll give credit where credit is due, and the credit goes to Preston Bolt, who sent this to me. The Bible Project has a podcast, so you can go wherever you get your podcast. And right now, they're actually going through in their podcast, and they put out maybe 1 or 2 a week about the book of Exodus.
Oh, great.
And how Exodus connects with so much else in Scripture. And I made a few references to things. This past Sunday, I'll make a few references this coming Sunday about, this past Sunday was the new creation is already beginning as they fulfill the original creation mandate by being fruitful and multiplying. This week, Moses is spoiler alert. Moses is put into the basket and put into the water. Well, the basket, the Greek or the Hebrew word, is the same word that's used in Genesis for the ark. And so we see repeating itself, the salvation of God's people happening through an ark. And cool. Just like that's just something. I mean, we just missed that in English, and it's just one of those like really cool points, and yet it's not going to be a whole point in a sermon. But it's just an amazing thing that the people who are originally hearing this, which is in effect like their nation's story, that they would sit around and tell, like we sit around July 4th. And go, you remember, this is what happened. This is how our nation came to be. This is their story. And in effect, this is our story too, because of how we as God's people came to be, because it all points us to Jesus. And so it's just those cool things. You're like, look at this wasn't random.
Mhm.
This was actually planned out by God, that here there was a rescue from the water in this family. There was a rescue of this one boy who would be the rescuer of God's people, who himself will be the ark, I guess. I don't know. I don't think he uses it again, but they're going to go through the Red Sea and all kinds of stuff with water and fire, and it's just fantastic. So if you're bored with us already, Bible Project podcast, wherever podcasts are sold.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of jumped into where I was going to lead us next, which is fine. That's great. The thought I had was when you and Jeffrey and Ryan and myself kind of sat around and sort of prayed and talked about different potential sermon, kind of the next series post the Gospel of Mark, and you mentioned Exodus. I think collectively we sort of looked like, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in Exodus, but sort of why the underlying theme, according to our fancy graphic that Ryan made, is the story of salvation.
Mm-hmm.
And so you touched on it already, Pastor Greg, but what specifically, without giving away future sermons, is there for somebody reading Exodus, kind of first blush, maybe it's like, hey, I want to commit to reading this book as a springboard to grow in my faith. I know who Jesus is. Can you talk about some of the connections?
Yeah, and I think that really is where something like the outline of Exodus helps us, because later on in Exodus, especially like 20, 25, 26 through 40.
Yes, the establishment of the tabernacle.
Yeah, there's all this, and then you sew this garment to this, and you do this, and I know a number of people can just get bogged down in that, or just like, I'm out.
Yep.
Like, what's next? Oh, Leviticus? Okay, what's next? But we want to see, as we go through the book, just the richness of what is there. Mm-hmm. And that's where the outline that I shared, it's on willowcreekchurch.org, under Watch and under Current Sermon Series, of the first bits about the redemption of God's people, bringing them out of bondage, out of slavery. And that's our story. Mm-hmm. That's what Jesus has done for us. Yeah. And then the middle part is where God renews his covenant, not just with Abraham this time. Mm-hmm. Abraham is long gone, but now with his whole family. And so God is recommitting to this people who have already complained, who have already
that's going to be a common theme.
Can we, this stinks. Can we go back to Egypt where our life was bitter? Because that was better than this. And God says to them, you're still my people. Mm-hmm. And what comfort that is for us. Because we can get lost maybe in just the confusing bit of it, or we've never read it, we don't understand it, or it's just like, what is happening here? What is happening is God saying, I'm your God, you're my people, and you can't get rid of me, because this is who I am, and what I'm about is bringing you out to be mine. And so it's really a story of God. It's a story of God's people, but it's a story of what God is doing in and amongst his people. And so then we get to what is all this? Set up this tent and make these things, and God has called us to himself to worship him. And we're not called to worship him in just any old way that we want. He says, here's how you are to worship me. Right. And as you worship me, I'm going to dwell in your midst. That's why they build this tent where he's like, I'm going to actually dwell there, where the fire and the smoke that, it all comes back. And so it's all there for us. Like we've been called by God to himself through Jesus. And that is in order to worship him. What is our chief end?
Glorify God and enjoy him forever.
To glorify God. Mm-hmm. So how do we do that? God actually tells us, because it can just be this open-ended, what does it mean to glorify God? I don't know. Here's what it means. Right. You worship, you pray, you read, you fellowship, you meditate on his word, you remember. Yeah, you remember.
I was going to jump in.
Lots of stuff.
The Passover and all the connections to when we take the sacrament of communion. Yeah. And the correlation there, and Jesus being the sacrificial atonement for us. Just so many themes, so much goodness. We are, maybe it's because I'm turning 40 in like 2 months. Which is a milestone.
Hey, Ryan, remind
birthday.
us of that later, that he's turning 40.
Do a sound effect of like creaky bones.
We're gonna do something big for him. I'm sure Becky will too.
Well, I bring up that in particular to just say, as I've started to really reflect on and remember things from life, and man, I'm quick to forget how God has been so gracious to me. Some of the milestone markers just in my 40 years. Much less over the history of his people for thousands of years and generation after generation. And this book, this sermon series will highlight and remind us of the significance and the importance of regularly gathering for worship, as you said, and also to remember what, in fact, God has done.
Here's a thought.
Yep.
Let's see how many people are listening, our tens of listeners, but maybe we do something in the cafe like a remembrance wall. Just we haven't discussed this, by the way, for our audience right now.
There's no bad ideas.
There are, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a wall down there that's got like prayer, where folks have put like answers to prayer request. Maybe we just have folks come in, put on an index card. Here's something I remember that God has done in my life over the years, and we'll work on that.
Beautiful. I typed it up, so I'll remember.
Oh, absolutely! Oh, awesome. Hey Siri, can I just give a shout out to anybody that's walking their dog right now, listening to this podcast? It's hot out there right now, people.
Yeah,
and so
get that poop quick, or it's gonna melt. Get real squishy.
That's not where I was going. I was just gonna say, remember hydration for you and for your pup, but you just took it to a whole nother level. And somebody just laughed out loud right now, and the people walking near them are just like, what is that person listening to? And so tell them you're listening to the Willow Creek podcast. So, Drew, besides the Exodus series that we'll have this summer, we've got VBS coming up in the end of June. Kathleen is hard at work. We've got a full VBS already. It's a waiting list only at this point, over 200 kids that have signed up, which is really, really exciting. And then I know in July, which will probably be the hottest week of the year, we're going to have another Serve Week coming up. So I just wanted to ask you, is there anything new to the Serve Week this year? If people weren't involved in Serve Week last year, what can they expect? What is it? And then how do they sign up? How do they get involved? Is it too early? What do we need to do to get on the list?
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. So Serve Week at Willow Creek is going to be set for July 11th to the 18th. So
putting it on my schedule.
Mark your
right
calendars.
now.
There you go. I see Pastor Greg adding it to his calendar. Really, the vision behind Serve Week is
Drew. Hold on. That's a Friday. Is it more than a week?
It is 8 days if you include
8 days.
Both Fridays.
So Serve 8 days doesn't really have the sound of like Serve Week.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a Friday to Friday.
Friday to a Friday.
Awesome. Thank you.
It begins with Friday night, July 11th, serving at one of our Mercy partners, the Sharing Center. They do a family fun night where families, people of all ages, including young kids, you can go to the Sharing Center location there on 1792 in Longwood and sort clothes, books, get a tour of the campus and all that they do there, but just serve alongside your friends at Willow Creek. And that's really one of the goals behind the vision of Serve Week is to have our people serve together, that when you're kind of working side by side, building some sweat equity. That's what I sweat.
Literally
yes,
this year.
You will sweat this for sure if you attend any of our functions at Serve Week.
We are quite the salespeople.
We talk about poop and sweat. I know. Two of the. Well, I have young children at home. That's what we talk about.
Oh, now it's starting to make sense.
But in serving with your fellow brothers and sisters, there's fellowship, there's bonds that occur. Another goal really is to highlight through serving several of our Mercy partners in the area. So we will be serving over the course of that Friday to Friday at the Sharing Center. Will be opportunities to serve at Christian Help, at Choices Women's Clinic. They recently had their big fundraiser, their Walk for Life. We will be serving at Rescue Outreach Mission in historic downtown Sanford. We'll be serving at Willow Creek on our campus, doing a campus care day. And Lord willing, we'll be serving at some of our senior adults' homes, some of our Salty homes that have some need there. We'll have a night of worship and prayer, and probably some other goodies that I'm going to finalize here in the next coming days. But yeah, basically opportunities to serve from July 11th to the 18th in the afternoon, in the mornings, as well as the evenings. And so really our onus is, hey, if you and your family are in town that week, right? We understand that it's mid-July, people go on vacation, go to the beach, different things. Great. If you're there, enjoy that. You need rest and restoration. But if you're here, there's an opportunity for you to plug in, engage with us. Last year, we had just shy of 200 people from our church body participate in some semblance of serving. Some people served 4 or 5. I think Mike Haas, give you a shout out. I think you took the whole week off work.
He did, he did.
To show up at several serve events. Others,
are you asking people to take the whole week off, or?
I mean, if you feel called and you have that flexibility, great. But no, even if you're busy and you have your normal work week, there are going to be opportunities to serve kind of off hours. And you asked how to sign up. Our website, willowcreekchurch.org. We are already working on kind of a save the date, and it will say very clearly at the top, Serve Week 2025, and there'll be an opportunity to sign up when it's live. We don't have active live signups yet, but it's coming very soon. If you commit and sign up to serve, you'll get a T-shirt.
Ooh,
which we don't
tell us more.
Yeah. It'll have the nice graphic Willow Creek Church Serve Week 2025 as just a kind of a token of remembering to serve in our community. So we're excited about that. Greg, do you want to give just a quick testimony of last year? We had a number of our church members and even I think a few others from the community came and serve at the big Sharing Center food distribution.
I was going to ask you if we were going to do that again.
We are.
That's the second Friday. So the 18th
That's on July 18th.
Is a food. I don't know what
it's called. The Sharing Center food distribution.
Food distribution.
About 200 families. Or
so it was remarkable to see like literally semi trucks show up from Second Harvest Food Bank, deliver pallets worth of food. So there's like a frozen section. There was a produce section. There was I don't even know what section. And our folks, along with, it wasn't just us, it was folks from the community that help out as well, which was a really cool way to meet some people that live here in the area. And then there are the police were here to direct the traffic because there was lines of cars side by side that snaked all the way through our out front parking lot here, actually out onto East Lake Drive. And it's a production. It's incredible. They open their trunk. They have the number of families. We grab these bags and throw stuff in it. Mike Haas would pray for them and bless them like as they drive away. And it was a remarkable thing. It was really, really fun. It was like, I think it was like 147 degrees outside with 100% humidity. It was awesome. But the Lord took care of us and we only had one minor injury, but it was just a great day, and to see so many from Willow Creek just serving and sweating and happy and just being a blessing to those in our community in just a small way.
As we demonstrate the power of the gospel.
So,
our hope would be whether you've been at Willow Creek for a week and you're hearing this, or you've been at Willow Creek for years and years and years. There's space for you. There's an opportunity that week, July 11th to the 18th, those 8 days, to get involved and serve our Mercy partners as well as around the church and those in our community with other Willow Creekers. And it's a fun week. It's a memorable week for sure.
Yeah, cool. Anything else?
I think we're good.
Yeah, Ryan kind of gave us a signal that he's bored.
Graduation's coming up.
Yeah,
we got all kinds of
congrats
fun stuff.
To all those that are finishing up. For those of you that are mowing the grass right now, take a break, go get some water.
Yes.
It's hot outside. And we won't. I think last time we did one of these, to use the words from Top Gun, we wrote a check our body couldn't cash, because we're like, yeah, let's do this every other week, and now here we are, like 3 months later. So we'll try to do these as best we can.
We'll stay out of the danger zone.
We had one nice. We had one of these planned about 2 months ago, and we had to cancel it because life happened. And something came up, and this is the first chance we've actually had to sit down since then, because life keeps going. So we'll hope to do as many of these. I hope they're beneficial to you, just being an encouragement. And I want to encourage everybody. Keep God loves you, cares for you. You can see that demonstrated in different ways as you look around the world, and don't let things distract you, but just keep your eyes on Him and His love for you, and even this podcast. Don't let it distract you. And so now, with that, we're just going to sign off. We hope you guys have a great summer. If we don't talk to you before then, go enjoy the Bible Project podcast. Learn way more about Exodus than we will ever be able to accomplish on a Sunday morning. And let us know how we can pray for you. And we love you, Willow Creek. Have a great summer.